Night Money Series, the premier series here, live up here in the broadcast booth. Hey, I got Harrison up here with me. Harrison, how you doing?
I'm all right. Glad to join you. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing awesome, and tonight we got some awesome Bad Fast guys because we're in the middle of a chase here, and man, what a chase has been because we've got tonight 6 drivers vying for a shot at a title.
And you know, it's an interesting set of drivers because you look at some of the roster. You have Larry Pace, who showed a lot of speed in the Wednesday series in the Grand National car, and he wanted to try his hand at the Monday series, wanted to win some races. Now he's won too. We've got Paul Cooper in here. Nobody had him getting this far, and I don't mean that as an insult, but Paul Cooper is a driver who's run for a long time, and he said, you know what, when time comes for the points, we're going to get after it. And it's a lot of interesting stories like that in this point series.
Absolutely. We got about 27 of some Bad Fast boys about to do some Bad Fast things and some awesome cars on a Bad Fast track here at Michigan International Speedway. Folks, it's the Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series, and I tell you what, getting geared up here, it has been interesting. I've been here since I think it's from the start of it, Darlington, and we narrowed that list down. We went to Talladega last week. Now we're in the Eliminator 6 here. After the night, 4 go ahead to Las Vegas to be a champ here in the Sim500. It's going to be interesting because I tell you, Kyle Taraska has been on fire, but Malik Ray, that's another one to keep an eye on.
Malik Ray has absolutely been one of the fastest guys in the series. He's made a habit of winning races. Didn't even need to show up every week to make the playoffs here, the chase. And I would have to say, going in, Malik Ray is definitely my favorite, but, you know, no one is exempt from a little bit of bad luck or unpredictable situations here. You know, even last week in NASCAR, Truex proving exactly that with the late caution, and that has gotten Malik Ray a few times himself.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, now he won last week. We saw a terrific race there, folks, at Talladega. We call that the wild card race. It's a plate race. Anybody can pull that thing off at any time, and we saw it. Fantastic race there. Darlington was one of the awesome throwback races. Michigan brings a new set to it here. It's a big track. I mean, this thing is, you know, over 2 miles. Huge speeds. We're going to see speeds in these cars. Not quite like a Cup car where they're hitting about 206 mile an hour on the straight and batch, but these cars here can hit well on almost 200. Very high speeds here.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's so wide that you see a lot of variety with driver line. There's a lot of interesting ways to approach it. You'll see guys do a really huge arc, and is a way to attempt to save tires. And, you know, that opens up, there's a lot of air beneath them, and you'll see guys trying to take advantage of that. So there's a lot of balance here of saving tires, racing aggressively, just how deep do you have to drive it to retain your position? How much can you give up and make back on the long run? There's a lot that goes into Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely going to be one interesting thing here tonight. Get set here to go live here. We're under qualifying here to get 10 minutes or 3 laps. See which one they can get in here tonight. So it's going to be good. I mean, I think they also blend in that drivers meeting, I believe, into that also.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, the drivers meeting, I got to do that myself here in about a minute. But I'll be doing some double duty tonight, stepping into the booth and also doing the administrative thing. But it should be good. We've had a lot of green races. We've had some exciting ones that got a little hectic, but you know what? Those have been kind of far and few between. We've had some good, nice green races, and they'll be pretty easy to step in and do both.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be interesting to see what we got here tonight. And if, like I say, if you got to step away, let me know, because it's going to be a good one here. So we're getting ready set here to go green flag racing here tonight, Michigan International Speedway. And as you see the man out there right now, he's doing an awesome drift job. That's Nathan Bowers. Pretty good looking form he had going on around that turn.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm about to step away and do the drivers meeting now, but most drivers who are going to qualify have qualified. So there's my cue. Looks like Malik Ray is going to be starting on the pole in this one.
Absolutely. Malik Ray is going to put this thing on the front row here tonight. We'll let Harris, man, step away here. Pedro, I'll tell you what, it's going to be an interesting one here. So I definitely, man, think we got a good night of racing. Some awesome boys out here to do some awesome things. As normally, well, I guess we would set up. Maybe we could take a quick commercial break here. Come back here for the green flag to get set here at Michigan tonight. Sim500 Monday night money Premier Series. I'll get it out there.
Start your engine!
Here, ladies and gentlemen, for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series. We are gridding these things up here tonight. Going to be a very, very interesting race here. Let's get your top 10 rundown order here right fast for you, because the man on pole tonight, Malik Ray, putting it on top there. Chad Cole starting second. Scott Smiley starting third. Kyle Taraska in fourth. We got Joe Hudson sitting in fifth. J.D. Lard right there in sixth. Paul Cooper sitting in seventh, E.J. O'Rourke in eighth, ninth place man Larry Paith, and round out the top 10, we got old Mike Matiza. I hope I said that right. If not, we'll get up with him and try to pronounce it right. Let's look through the rest of this field here. Harrison, I tell you, some talent, skill is the good word to use.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, there's a number of guys who didn't take time, and that includes Justin Fuller, Chad Cole, Josh Williams, Jose Gonzalez. All those guys are going to be coming from the back with a head of steam. Scott Stenzel coming from the back. And a few guys not happy with their qualifying effort who I think are going to be moving forward, including, just looking at this list, Mike Kelly, Scott Formosa, Ryan Cook. All those guys are going to be heading north in the field, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be very interesting to see what transpires out here, because this is a race where, well, hey, it's anybody's ball game. Anything can happen here. It's a huge track, got a lot of lanes. Most of the time, you're going to see guys take that kind of middle to high lane. Now, as I say that, they're going to play before a full and probably go down the low side.
Yeah, this is a track where the bottom lane kind of is the middle, as you were saying. The actual bottom lane has a little bit less banking. The second groove has a little bit more, so they're going to be using that second groove a lot.
Absolutely. Well, some awesome looking machines there. All 27 of them here, grid up here tonight. They're going to look very, very good as we get this thing rolling. Folks, got some awesome laps, man, to put in here as a four drivers will go on to be a champ here as pace cars coming into turn 3.
Yeah, as they enter turn 3, Malik Ray leading the field, and he has to be feeling good, but makes me wonder. I didn't catch a lot of practice, so I'm curious about exactly how this car is handling. Right? Is it tight? Is it loose? We're about to find out pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Pace cars sitting in, about to take that hard left turn on pit road.
Green flag.
Here we go. Green
Have a great
flag
day. Have
here,
fun.
folks. About to get set here to go racing here at Michigan. As listen to the roar and thunder of them motors as they come storming by the start-finish line. They are all stacked up 2 by 2, coming into one there. Malik takes a good hold on the front side there. Look at them guys fan out there. It's an awesome sight to see all them cars do that.
Oh, and EJ, the 41 car, tried to make use of the very bottom. It looked really good for a while, but he's fading back now, losing spots. The outside's looking good. One of the chase drivers, Paul Cooper in the 18 car, he's going to slide in about position number 7 or so. Paul Cooper's looking to have a good run here. He wants to get to that final race for that championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely want to. Right now, Malik Gray out front, looking very good. Behind him, though, you got Kyle Taraska. We know that guy can definitely, he's running the old Intimidator scheme. And he's definitely out there trying to intimidate everybody he possibly can with that number 3. Chad Coleman, though, right there in the 3rd place. Gold on his back neck lid. Until they get fanned out a little bit, just kind of, oh, we got an accident. 41's around the back.
Oh, few cars getting caught up in that, but still green because the accident ended up cleaning itself down to the apron, and green flag looks to still be out, but a couple of these guys, EJ O'Rourke, Joe Hudson, they're kind of missing the fact that it did not trigger the caution flag.
Yeah, and that's another thing we're talking about here in Michigan, and I'm just kind of going back on it here to look at it. The 12 car hit the wall coming out of turn 2, bounced right off of it. That's something we have to look. Well, it could have been more disastrous than what it was because he spun right in front of a whole slew of cars. Like I said, got the 12 car. Something we didn't really talk about here. Coming out of turn 2, turn 4, actually turn 2, that car gets very tight and can push up to the wall very easily.
Yeah, and when you're Joe Hudson, you feel awful about that because a good qualifying effort, he's running up there, and, you know, it doesn't take much. It really doesn't. Doing quite a bit of sim racing myself, it is incredibly easy to make a mistake. Especially, I feel like earlier on, the nerves are a little bit higher. Everything just seems to be a little bit harder earlier on in races, and unfortunately, Joe Hudson went from the front right to the back in one corner there.
Yeah, absolutely did. Well, still out front, though, man, the man that controlling this one, Malik Gray, he is definitely out there, man, having himself a field day here, folks. As we're at lap 493 around this huge track of Michigan International Speedway for the Sim500 Monday night Money Premier Series here. Been good so far out there. Now, he's definitely going to try to win this thing, so he knows that he locks himself into moving into next week. He's not going to try to rely on points.
No, absolutely not. And as you see everyone kind of all underneath the blank, they're right at the front of the field. I have to feel like Malik Ray here is thinking about his tires. I think he's going about as hard as he has to. Maybe they all might only be going as hard as they have to. I'm not sure if anyone's driving at 100% right now, but you have J.D. Laird up there, Kyle Taraska, Chad Coleman, and Scott Simley. And Cooper also has caught up to them, so that's 6 cars all bunched up. Actually, at Mike Kelly, I said that he'd be going to the front. He started 15th. He's up to 7th, but he's about a second behind that lead pack, but he is catching them.
Yeah, absolutely. He is definitely looking good so far. Look at that. Kyle Taraska goes up underneath the man in the number 1 machine there. And Malik Gray's going to take that spot away. That's JD right there. He looks good in that 23. And up front of Eddie's nose to tail affair. They got the 20, 16, 18 all right there bunched up together.
Yeah, you know, J.D. Laird, I saw him racing in the Wednesday series last week at Texas, and he told me that he was on the go strategy. He didn't even care about tire wear. He was just trying to lead all he can, keep that track position. And it worked out for him for most of that race. He didn't get the finish that we thought he was going to, but I think that's more of the same. I think JD is not into as much tire saving as some of the guys around him, but he's also a driver who wins races and he runs up front. And it's not him running up front because they're saving, but I think he's going for that lead, just going to try to hold on rather than save and see what he has later.
Absolutely. Well, why not? Get out there, get a good lead, feel what you got. We're at lap 7 and 93. Look through a field here, though. 68 there. Scott Smiley, he's another one. And just to give you an update here, folks, you know, Kyle Taraska and Malik Ray right there. Now, they're 2 of the chase runners. And where they're sitting at, well, they're sitting pretty. You got to look at also, you got Williams, who was sitting in Let's see where actually he is at the Joshua Williams back in the 19th spot. And we also got JD. He's another one. He's out there leading too. So you got three of the top guys in the top three spots. And then you got to go to Cooper, which is actually, I don't even see Cooper. You see Cooper? Ah, yes, appreciate it. 6th spot. There it is. He got a long name. Paul Nicholas Cooper. All right, I was just looking for a first and the last name. He's sitting in 6th, so that's another one looking good. So all the chase guys right now are looking pretty good there, Harris.
Oh, absolutely. Kind of all together, which can be kind of frustrating because you're one of those chase guys. You want to have a little bit of cushion, right, or react or relax a little bit. But it's pretty clear early on in this one that they're going to have to be up on the wheel all race along. And I think as we have some green flag laps going here, things since that early accident that did not trigger the yellow. By the way, Mike Kelly just kind of moving Paul Cooper up the hill in turn 3. Cooper's going to be back to 7th, Mike Kelly up to 6th. But this is one of those situations where as we stay green here, it's looking more and more like a race where strategy is going to come into play, green flag pit stops, and I think a lot of these guys...
caution for?
Oh, I was talking strategy. Like, what are they going to think about pitting?
Really?
From now, but hey, yellow flag is out. I'm not sure where the accident is.
51, all right. I'll tell you what, we'll get an idea where the 51 machine is here. I tell you, that's something you want to see. Kind of not too bad for up here. Just give you an idea. He's back there battling side by side. And coming to the start-finish line here. Oh, yeah, just got hooked just a little bit by the Folgers can there. And just tapped that in outside wall. Hate to see it on his end, but in the back, that's what happened. This track does have a lot of room to it here, Harrison. I mean, they've got grooves that they can work, high, low, and middle.
Yeah, Justin Fuller, that's certainly one of the problems with starting in the back. But Justin Fuller, one of the fastest guys in this race, and he is going to be, they're arguing over what's to blame. They think Glenn Campbell is thinking a little bit about netcode because we had some netcode issues last week, but certainly doesn't look like netcode here, but there might be a warp issue going on. Sometimes as a spectator, it looks different than if you're a driver in the race, in iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Justin Fuller, I mean, the main thing to come out of that is, well, that car's not going to win this race anymore unless something crazy happens.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you right now, though, it's been a good one. We're at lap 11 of 93 here. Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series here live at Michigan International Speedway. And the man out front, JD, he's thinking about a win, so he definitely seals his deal for the Contender 4, the Championship 4, should we add there, because whoever goes on next week, well, those 4 drivers will be a champ, whoever wins at that next week, so to speak. So after the night, it's going to be interesting. Now, pit road, a very busy place right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all coming down. You'd have to figure 4 tires is the decision of choice. I'd be surprised if anyone plays the strategy card right now. It seems a bit early for that. But we'll see if anyone does anything different there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, right now it's I'm gonna say everybody's gonna take 4 tires. I would. This track here, now we haven't really seen a lot of it. We've only been in about 10 laps, 11 laps in it so far. When we start seeing a very long green flag run undo here, I think what we're going to see, tire wear will play a factor later on. But right now, they didn't run enough, I don't think. So my experience in Michigan, from what I've run the truck, these cars, and actually the cup car around here, is that you see where there's right off the bottom line, there's a little black line. From my understanding, you put your two left side tires right on that black line coming around the turn, and that's the best place. You go below it, you get a little bit loose. You go above it too far, and you can push up into the wall very easily.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's a situation, too, where over the course of a long run, if the car tightens up, you'll start to see people kind of dip their left sides underneath that seam on the racetrack to try to get a little more rotation. You might think, like, it might not work having it unbalanced with the left tires having less grip than the rights, but sometimes it's exactly what you want. You'll see sometimes the car will be real tight. People will take 2 tires just as a way to loosen it up. Forget about shorter pit stop time, but just to loosen it up. And so it's kind of the same theory as that. Yeah, it's certainly an interesting way you have to approach the corners here at Michigan. A little bit different than you'll see a very similar line in real life with a repaved track, but there's no seam there anymore. It's just they're kind of running a little bit higher a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, right now we're definitely under caution here. First time tonight. Not the first time we have a little bit of incident going on, because we had a little incident going on before. The thing about this track, Harris, is there's a huge runoff. It's almost like Indy and so forth, where they can run off. You can actually slide all the way down that infield, and iRacing will not pull a caution for that. So something to keep in mind as we go out through this race. If you see a car hit the wall, go flying off down the infield, might not trigger a caution. And I know our viewers out there are probably going, hey, wait a minute, that's a wreck. Take out 2 or 3 or 4 cars. Not always happening here on this huge track.
Yeah, so much room on the apron. I get the game pretty much paints the line on the bottom of the racetrack, and if it's on the apron, some of these tracks will trigger yellow, but this one definitely not so much. And it's interesting because when you have that early incident like we did, the Justin Fuller incident was a pretty odd one. I really felt like we had a green look to it coming on that run, because sometimes with that early incident, the pack kind of starts to distance themselves a little bit, or maybe like half the field has to break for a wreck, and then there all of a sudden you have distance, you have room, and a lot of times that one incident that does not bring out a caution ends up causing the run to last way longer than it would have if it didn't go green all the way. So it's an interesting thing to deal with, because it definitely plays into people's strategies. They might not short pit if they think a caution would fall. If they think odds are low, hey, bring it in early, try to make up time on tires.
Yep, absolutely. Well, out front, Kyle Trask got a man on point here. Lights on the pace car off, getting set to go back. Green flag racing. Going to be lap 15 when they cross the line. A 93 here tonight at Michigan International Speedway for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series here with the Xfinity cars. You know them by the Xfinity cars. You know them by the B cars here on iRacing also. Man up front, Kyle Trask and Lee Gray. They are no stranger to each other. Folks, if you've seen them at Darlington, you'd see why. If you saw them last week, you'd see why at Talladega. And tonight again, well, they're back at it. Round 3, so to speak.
Absolutely. Tarasco's had a successful season here. Malik Ray too, but, sorry, I was, when you look at doing a final race in Las Vegas next week, it's going to be something interesting because, you can't rely on that one bad thing happening, which has happened to pretty much every driver in this series. It's one race to get it perfect, and you have to be perfect. So it's kind of an anxiety-ridden situation for these guys.
Yeah, true. As the pace car's coming out of turn number 4, well, get ready here and set this thing again here tonight. That man up front, Kyle Trask, is going to lead this pack of angry wolves here. Green flag in the air. Listen to that. V8 horsepower come to life here in Michigan. That is a good thing because all-American made there. Michigan near Detroit. We all know what Detroit is, the Motor City. And they are motoring around this huge track here. And then number 3, he's got the Intimidator colors out there. And he's intimidating this field right now. But he's got a man, Malik Ray, and the target machine going on the inside. We got a car way down, look like a Bud Coors machine.
Yeah, Bobby Wetzel, the number 9 car, he brings up track a little bit less room than he intended there with Scott Stenzel and Chad Cole. But, ooh, that could have been worse than it was. Nice save by Bobby Wetzel. Merges back. No harm, no foul. This one, they're racing hard. They're in the middle of the pack. 24 car Stenzel wants to get around him. They're going to be 3 wide here as they head toward turn 1.
Yes, they are 3 wide coming to turn 1, and that is the kind of thing that they actually can do. The nose to tail up front, out in the back there. That's the number 2 machine. That's Mike Kelly. He's mixing it up in the group there a little bit. And Chris behind him in the 39. Well, I said behind him as I say that. He goes on the outside of him. Look at the pack of cars in the backside back there, though, Harris. These guys, man, nobody told them it was lap 16 to 93. I think they forgot to get the memo.
That's exactly right. A lot of racing room leads to a lot of racing. That's what I can say about Michigan.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to tell you, you ever had a chance to get out here and drive into these cars yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Not as not as often as I used to or would like to, but certainly have at least a baseline of knowledge with it.
Good deal. Well, I'll tell you what, we're live here tonight. Definitely it's an awesome thing. There's still nose to tail. File lineup. got to go back here to where the 63. Well, as I say, that double zero. They settled that one just there. That was the 8th and 9th spot. They get tucked back in the line. So everybody's got a freight train going around here. And that's what I'm talking about is bumping side by side action for a little while. But after a while, these guys are going to get fanned out. But you can go 2 and 3 wide. So by the end of this race here, Harris, forget about it. We're going to see some guys take some chances and go 3 wide.
Yeah, and certainly different. As we saw on that restart, I think they realized, just how close so many of these guys are on speed. A lot of times you try to get it quickly on the restart, then it goes a little bit into that, okay, I can ride here mode. You have a guy in front of you who's fast. You can relax a little bit and follow him, try to follow him through the field. One of those people coming through the field, number 22, Josh Williams. That's a 13th best, Bobby Wetzel, who we saw have that moment down the backstretch. But that's one of those things, and as those guys get up there, it's kind of a meeting, a congregation, if you will, and then more side-by-sides to happen. But I think right now that a lot of people are thinking of that strategy game. What's the end game on what lap I have to pit? Do I want to do a 2-stopper? Do I want to do one?
Save your stuff, save a little fuel.
I think I jinxed it for the second time because we have a caution flag. Don't see where yet, but...
Yeah, 23's around. Let's go back here on the... Go back here on my replay here and look at it because I saw the 23 and the 99 Folgers machine right there. Like I said, JD. Oh yeah, that's going to be that's going to be in his championship hopes right there. Going to be dim on it a little bit. He was back in the back of the pack there as we're watching this replay. It's the Budweiser man there on the inside. I don't know if some net code was involved. Boy, I tell you, it was just barely right there in the turn. And they are so loose here, Harris. It didn't take much for him to come around. And unfortunately, that's not what he wanted to see, not where he wanted to be at. It's going to be very interesting to see if he can get back up front.
Yeah, I certainly would not have expected that to happen. I mean, if you're seeing what I'm seeing, well, JD just got ran over. But
yeah,
it was pretty significant to the point where I wondered if maybe there was some warp going on, but the 26 car, Jose Gonzalez, took blame for the accident after it happened. And I think what happened was right before that turn 1, JD tried to get in line in front of Jose. They made contact at a turn 4. Jose ran over JD, so, as an admin, well, that's something to look at now.
Yeah, true. As we're heading off into pit road here, I'll tell you what, be a good time, I guess, it's like Mike always said up here, step away, take a break, get your refreshments, get yourself, man, kind of set back in place after all this action here at lap 21 and 93 here live, Michigan International Speedway for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series, Premier Series with the Xfinity Series. Folks, we're in the middle of a chase here, Eliminator 6. So we'll step away, take a quick commercial break. We'll head on back here for some more action.
Start your engine!
International Speedway for the Sim500 Monday night money series with the Xfinity Series cars here. This is the premier series here. And I tell you what, I got Harrison up here in the booth with me. He's doing double duty time tonight, adminning and calling a race with me, and I appreciate it. Michael Keaton, he had some family issues and couldn't make it tonight. Pedro over there mashing on a few little buttons for us, making this thing happen. And it's an awesome race so far as we're under caution here. And unfortunately, one of the chase contenders was involved with that, as it's not going to be a good night for him.
No, not at all. And when I was looking more at that replay of that crash, JD's car started to come around a little bit before contact, but I think I actually see his net code on my end. I don't think he actually got loose, but I think the contact was net code at first, but he was pretty much getting run over anyway. But just a rough situation because all that kind of just a buildup of literally 8 seconds. Just contact twice, and now he's gonna have a hard time here trying to hold on to this one. Hopefully the car's not damaged, and for his sake, not damaged too bad.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I agree with you on that, Harris. We get set to go back green flag. Yeah, unfortunate on his end. We touched on it earlier how loose these cars definitely are at this track over a period of time when they're running. Does not take much going into the turn as far as a touch or a bump or anything to send one of these things sliding. And you might have, I don't want to say have the skill, because pretty much everybody out here on here does, but a lot of these guys, once they start going, usually that car comes on around.
Yeah, it's one of those things where when you're driving through the corner as hard as you can, all you need is that little bit more to overstep the limit, because all these guys are already very close to the limit of the cars, and so that's all it takes, that little shove, and we're over the limit, we're going around. It just goes to show you how hard you got to drive to be up to pace.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's 100% on that. Well, these guys are definitely driving hard here. Okay, good deal. Two guys, we just got that from our pit road reporter right there, Pedro. He is tuning in as pace car's coming out of turn 4. I'm going to take that hard left turn off on pit road, and it's going to be lap 24 in the books when they cross the line. This time by man up front there, Brian Cook, Bobby Witzel right there as they hammer through the gears and go on. Malik Gray's going to try to follow him in. The Coors machine up there. Well, look at the move the number 20 made. Chad Coleman, he takes it 3 wide to turn 1.
He saw Bobby Wetzel has those 2 tires. He's trying to take advantage of it right now. I tell you, Malik Ray is already looking for that lead. I'm curious about how the 2 tires will work, but I think Malik is like, I'll take 4, thank you very much, and he's going to be in the lead here in a second, but we'll see how the 9 can do and the 63, because Brian Cook was running about 7th, 8th before that yellow, so we know he's got some speed in it. Now we'll see how can he hang with less rubber.
Well, the thing about it is, now's the time to do it early on in the races. We're only at lap 24, 93. If you're going to make a move, try it, because it might be something later on. If this thing goes green flag, and it might be a pit strategy that might need to be employed, 2-tire stop later on. So it's good to experiment to see. I mean, obviously 4 tires, hey, that's what everybody wants. But if everybody else sees that somebody takes 2 and gets that track position under a green flag, 2 tires could give them enough of an advantage. And when I say advantage there, Harrison, I mean they could be like 8, 9, 10 seconds ahead.
Oh yeah, with green flag pit stops especially, that's really something to think about. With Brian Cook, I'm not feeling too optimistic right now. Already the number 2 car, Mike Kelly's looking underneath him. That would be for the 5th position, so he's already about to be about 6th, and just a couple more cars. And for a second there after the restart, I thought Bobby Wetzel was really struggling, but now those 2 are pretty close together. They were the front row. Now they're running about 7th and 9th.
Yeah, where the 2 tires I think really would pay off is, let's say if those guys were up front and needed the track position to go ahead. I mean, because even 4 tires, because right now they are losing pace, but they're not losing a lot. If you had a 5 to 8 second lead and you went in, took 2 tires, guy behind you took 4, obviously you're going to make up a ton of time, and then he might not have enough time, depending on how many laps is left, to run you down. So that's when the 2-tire strategy might play out. Obviously we might see that later on in the race, because right now everybody taking 4, yeah, on a restart, it's very hard to maintain, especially when you got 2 bad, fast cats up front like Malik Ray and Kyle Taraska. But you got Chad Coleman right there, right on their back, and you got Smiley. I hope that's right. Is that right, Smiley?
Oh, I think it's Simley.
Simley.
But
All right. My bad. Looked like Smiley. But hey, either way, he's smiling because he's in 4th place.
Yeah, I think when I think of Scott Simley, and I don't know if he would agree or disagree with me, but I feel like his best tracks are the big tracks. And it just seems like especially if it's a little bit snug, I feel like he gets pretty much everything you can out of it. There's just some combinations that seem to click with him where he is instantly up front. And tonight's no different than that. We haven't been talking about him very much in this series, but 3 wide for the lead right now, directly in front of him. Looks like Malik Ray's going to hold on to that on the outside, though. But Simley, he's up here at night.
Yeah, it is, and we got some cars in the grass in the back, but you're right, they were 3 wide up front, and all of them was chase contenders, too. Well, let me see, Coleman's the only one in that mix there that's not a chase contender. But, hey, Malik Ray and Kyle Taraska was, and we just mentioned it, we saw 2 cars back there mowing the grass on the front stretch. No caution, because we were talking about that earlier on. Not always does iRacing throw a caution, but look at this pack going on up here. Malik Ray out front. Kyle Taraska, as I say that, caution's out.
Did you hear any static, like somebody was keying up on your radio just a few minutes ago?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I'm not actually sure what brought out the
31.
Caution yet. Oh, 31, Mike Montesi.
Yep. I'm going to go back here. And the 12 machine was one of them, the one going through the grass there. So I'm going back here on my replay, watching this one. I'm going to see what, kind of get an idea of what happened. Back there, they were side by side. The 31 machine, he was up high. Got the 64 down low. Got the Budweiser, the 26 machine back there along with them. Yeah, the 31 just lost it coming out of turn 2. And I'll tell you what, the night the Folgers man has not had the night he's wanted, that 99 machine, that's Glenn Campbell. Glenn is definitely, he's probably going to want a whole box full of coffee after this one, because every time he turns around, it seems like he's getting into a wreck or something.
Yeah, it has not been, he's been on the highlight reel. I don't know, Folgers might be happy. They might sell more coffee out of it.
Yeah, wow, that would be a good commercial. Definitely, man, if you need some Folgers or need some coffee to cheer you up and get you going, here you go. Avoid all the wrecks. That'll definitely, man, get you going. Folgers in your cup.
well, you know what? Caffeine's great for headaches. Folgers has caffeine, hey? It could help.
Absolutely. Well, that's what it is. I'll tell you what, pit road's going to be a very busy place. And I know everybody's like, well, they just came in the pits. But this place here is hard on tires, folks. It is a place where you definitely want to try every time a caution or every time you get a chance to get some good years on them things, and definitely fuel, because this one could come down to a fuel mileage race. It could be anybody's race here by the time it ends. So all of them, I got a feeling, I don't think we're going to see anybody take 2 tires this time. Everybody's going to probably try to take 4.
Ooh, and I know J.D. Laird was not up front because of the fixing the damage and all that, but he just missed his stall too, and it's not going to hurt him that much, but oh, that's just salt on the wound. I guess it's all part of healing, but it hurts a lot. But
Yes.
and as you were saying moments ago about, 2 tires towards the end of a race, or, shortening the amount of time you have to be on them and whatnot, I think that, when you have a couple of cautions, that's what you're going to get. If it goes green, pretty much everyone's going to pit lap 33 or so, or 31 in this one, based on a 93-lap race. They're kind of going to hang to that pattern, but with this, there's a lot of opportunity for more people to do that. You'll still see maybe some people take 4, but that's where it comes in. You'll see some fuel-only guys maybe late into going if the price is right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's a good one. If the price is right, these guys definitely will try to take that advantage at any time they possibly can and get those 4 tires. Or, like you said, gamble with the 2 and see if it pays off for them. Nobody on this instance that I think took that, unless Brian up front in the 89 did. He might have took 2 because I'm showing him out front, or he just hasn't taken his pit stop yet. Yep, there he goes on pit road.
Yeah, led lap for the 89. 89, by the way, Brian Wertman, he's got very Morgan Shepherd look to that car. Well, he used to be Morgan Shepherd's car chief, the 89 Xfinity team. So That's where that comes from. There's a few guys here who work or have worked in NASCAR. A couple of the others, Brian Cook in the 63 is Joe
Nice.
Gibbs Racing social media guy. Josh Williams, the 22 car, he's Ryan Blaney's spotter. That's where kind of 22 comes from. And Ryan Blaney in the chase finished, I believe it was 11th yesterday in Chicago. Almost in Kansas. Looks like Kansas, it's Chicago. But so you have a few of these guys here with actual NASCAR experience in this one.
That is awesome, man. I tell you what, so star-studded. When I say star-studded, well, that's actually, we're meaning star-studded out here. Field of drivers, and we've still got 26 of these guys out here running. But the field is, this is a track where, don't usually see a lot of cautions. You got a lot of grooves that you can work with. They get fanned out pretty good. It is a high-powered, high-speed style track here at Michigan International Speedway for the Sim500 here. Monday Night Money Series, Xfinity Series, the Premier Series here. And we're at we're at the race here, Eliminator 6, folks. Next week, we go to the championship 4 guys tonight. We'll go next week to Las Vegas to be the champ here at the Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series. And it's going to be an exciting one, Harris. Who's your favorite out there?
Ooh. I mean, I have a really good feeling about Malik Ray. I'd put my money on him, but, and as much as I've talked about Vegas, this whole chase has been consisted of one-offs, it's felt like, as far as the elimination. But, take all of that, multiply it by 1,000, because at Vegas, they're going to be racing for a championship. Only one's going to make it out of that, and that's the prize everybody wants. So, Larry Pace has shown a lot of speed. Cooper's been very solid. And a lot of these guys still have to make it, but, some of them might not. J.D. Laird, another guy who could easily win come Vegas. Anybody in Vegas who makes it will be able to win that race. That's what makes it so crazy to watch. But I would put my money on Malik Ray, but you know what? I've bet before and I've lost before.
Yep. Well, and that's, I've never been to Vegas, but they always say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So next week when we go there, what happens on that track's definitely going to stay there. And the champ's going to be crowned next week here for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series. 4 drivers tonight's going to go on to that. We got 6 of them out there right now. You talk about JD. I'll tell you what, he's got his work cut out for him as pace cars coming into turn 3. Going to let these guys loose here again. Going to be lap 34.93. Going to be in the books here tonight, Harris. It has been a very exciting race as we see that pace car coming out of turn 4. And as always, going to shoot off down on pit road. And the man up front, Malik Ray, we've talked about him pretty much about all race long. He's up front. He's going to lead these boys to the start-finish line here. And it is a slow crawl to it. Green flag will fly. And these guys will put the metal pedal to the floor and hammer down, heading to turn number 1. It is a storm of cars heading in there. They'll go fan out 2 and 3 wide up front.
Yeah, and something I was watching there in that restart was Malik Ray was giving the pace car a lot of room. Usually when you do that, the leader's gonna go pretty early when he does that, but that's what everyone around him thought, and he waited to go pretty late. So he probably would have tricked me too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, up front, man, there you got Scott. He's looking good in the 4th spot. Got a car blinking. That's something you don't always want to see around you as a car. We call them blinkies, but something you don't want to see, definitely. And I think that's actually E.J. O'Rourke right there in the 8th place. In the number 41 machine, got Brian Cook around him, Joshua Williams there. So a lot of the chase guys up front. Look at behind them, 3 wide coming out of the going into turn 1.
Yeah, and EJ's another guy who's been on the highlight reel. He's way on the bottom. 24 Scott Stenzel going to go on by him. 8 of Chad Cole. Chad Cole's one of those silent drivers, man, like a Mark Martin. Matt Kenseth is his favorite driver. I could say he's like a Matt Kenseth. He just kind of appears up front. You don't know how he got there, and then if you look at the highlight reel, you see him just passing everybody. But Chad Cole, on his way to the front, kind of very similar to his favorite driver, which I wonder how often that happens, that a racer's favorite driver ends up kind of adopting his style. Or, chicken or the egg. Maybe he chose Matt Kenseth because, hey, that's what I would do.
And true, sometimes you try to mimic what you are. I mean, obviously, we're in the virtual world, they're in the real world, but folks, this is about the realest you're going to get. unless you want to go out there and actually jump in one of these cars. And I'm going to be honest with you, unless they come up with a convertible, hey, no way in the world I'm fitting through one of them windshields to get in there and drive one of them things.
It's certainly interesting. It's a whole different world. And then you look at I saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. on Twitter today was talking about, hey, I'm running the simulator for 3 hours today, and we only got a shot of the cockpit, but I mean it looks the same as iRacing. Who knows how it drives, because they're very secretive about that, but it's not too far off. Dale Jr. himself used to run iRacing quite a bit. A lot of the guys in Cup and Xfinity and trucks still use it. Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson. Whoa, EJ O'Rourke, contact. That's going to be a crash. The 12 car, hard to the outside wall. Joe Hudson.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I was watching that while you was telling us about that. And unfortunately, Joe Hudson, he made a move on the high side here. I'm going to take it back on the replay. I was watching it transpire because I was back there with our own Joey, and I hope I say his last name, Katina. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, I think Joey Katina.
Okay. Yeah, Joey Katina was back there in the mix. The 41 got a little bit loose and a little net code in between there, and then the 12 got involved. They were 3 wide. Could have been a lot worse than what it was. One guys had to scatter like ants back there. And unfortunately, the 12 got the worst end of the deal on that one. But yeah, 3 wide, you can do it. The problem is, the guy in the middle got a little bit loose, and then he started once you start bouncing in between the 2 cars, it's hard to stop that car from bouncing around. It's like a ping pong ball.
Yeah, EJ, I have felt the very same thing where you're trying to give enough room. You end up giving a little bit too much room to the car on the bottom. EJ ends up bouncing off the car above him, and exactly as you said, and kind of control is lost after the second contact. It's over at that point.
Yeah, I hate to see that on his end, but out front still Malik Ray up front, Chad Coleman, that's what you was talking about earlier on there in the 20 machine. Kyle Tarasca sitting 3rd, Scott Smiley 4th, and again, pit road will be a very busy place because we talked about it throughout the race here, Harris. These guys, every chance they get, they're going to get 4 tires and fuel.
Absolutely. I think Brian Cook, Bobby Wessel, I think they learned their lesson. They're coming down right now. Cook, by the way, running 8th, so he's going to, he didn't lose too much. He kind of came out of there in the neutral zone. It was a risk worth taking. Now he knows for later what he's going to have if he needs to go that route. Looks like we might have had one car take 2 tires. I'm not positive. I got to check this.
Cooper, maybe. And why not?
It looks like it.
Well, why not? He's got really nothing to lose here. Was in the back there running, and he's buying for a chase spot here to get into that Las Vegas next week. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said before, it's early in the race. We're getting near halfway, not quite, but now's the time to take that chance.
And you know what? Those halfway points, they're added into the standings, and I think Cooper knows that. He wants good track position for the halfway, and whatever he loses, he knows he can make it up later, especially with the way the cautions have been flying here. But another thing to keep in mind, too, is we heard Cooper over the radio being kind of frustrated with traffic. One of the cars was lagging out, and Paul got stuck in the wall a little bit entering turn 1, trying to predict where that car was going to go and stay out of harm's way. And I think Paul just really wanted some fresh air. Yeah,
I'm along with you right there. Well, still not too much change except for the fact of look who's sitting in 3rd, JD. He has had an eventful race, but he is not out of this thing yet. Okay, good deal. Well, we got that word from pit road there from Pedro.
Yeah, only 2 tires for JD, which I'll be curious to see how it works out. I haven't paid close attention to JD's speed. I'd like to see how much he has on those straightaways. If it looks like he's a little bit tighter in the corners with his damage, just how much potential his car currently has, because we saw him leading and pulling away earlier. So we kind of have the benchmark already.
Well, earlier on, he was the one that got caught up in a little bit of the incident early on, got in the back there, and got in the back of the pack. So maybe he's thinking safest place to be is up front. And what I might lose on these 2 tires, I still will be closer. He's still got some damage on that right side, of the car. And I know here they don't do fast fixes. They don't do anything like that. So he has to live with it, maybe get some of the optional that he possibly can. So he's probably looking at that track position. He knows he might not have a car to win this one, but he definitely is wanting to get up there as close as he can to hopefully eke it out because, like I say, only 4 guys are going on to next week.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So, and that just increases all the intensity because everything matters. Every decision matters. Every little thing that happens in this race matters. Sometimes something goes wrong. It puts you on a strategy that ends up making things right. I had a race years ago. I had a race earlier this year. Felt like years ago. At Indianapolis, I got a whole lot of damage. It put me on an opposite strategy. I came home with a 4th place with a car that should have been running 15th. And that's what, that's something that's very realistic for JD Laird tonight. You never know what's going to happen at the end of these.
Well, when we talk about it too, as close as all these guys are, I mean, you got to look. Malik Ray sitting there in second. JD's currently third. You've also got to look right in the backside there. You got Kyle Taraska sitting in 7th, Joshua Williams in 8th, and Larry Pace in 9th. Folks, right there, and Harris, there is pretty much your whole top 6 guys, all right there, nose to tail one another. So it's anybody's ballgame, and JD understands that. I don't know how the bonus point system works here or anything, but he understands that it's probably going to take him being up here in the top 10 to move on to Las Vegas.
Yeah, the same theory that with Paul Cooper, we could assign that to JD as far as halfway points. They're thinking about those halfway points. We're going to be getting there in just about 6 laps. And a little bit more, since hearing Larry Pace's name has reminded me, this might be one of his worst tracks, which is kind of a crummy place to be in when you're trying to make that final race. He's got to make it happen today at Michigan at a track where, he's looked for speed and kind of been confused as why he couldn't find it in the past. So, he's run decent here. He's run well here. He's running around good cars, good drivers. But, tonight it's go time if he wants to race for a championship in Vegas. And I think if he makes Vegas, he's going to have a really good chance at winning that race. But he needs to get through Michigan.
Yeah, true. I got you covered on that one. Well, here we go. We're going to see what happens up front here. Pace car is going to shoot off on pit road. Send these boys back at it again. It's going to be lap 42 at 93 in the books. And look out front there. Cooper says, I'm gone. Hammers through. And Malik Ray wastes no time to follow in his tire tracks there. We saw JD. He's side by side with the man in the 20 machine of Chad Coleman as they go off into turn 1. Going to see if he can hold on the straightaway with that damage and the speed.
Oh, that's absolutely right. And Malik Ray, with his fresh car, fresh tires, already moving his way toward the lead right now. Yellow flag's out.
Yep,
Okay,
0-0 went around in the back. Larry Pace, we were just talking about him. Oh, let's go back here on the replay and see what exactly transpired behind there. I saw him spinning, and it was just unfortunate. Well, I guess it wasn't unfortunate that it caused the caution, because that actually will help him because he did go off down into the infield there, and we were talking about it early on. The 24 was down low. Let's see if a slight contact between those two coming out of turn 2. And man, they got lucky that triggered a caution, because normally once you go down in that infield like that, here at this track, it doesn't. So it might not hurt there, Larry Pace, as bad as what it could have been.
Yeah, absolutely. He's happy at least to be able to try to fix it here under this caution, but I feel like I'm jinxing everybody. But hey, I've talked about Larry Pace before, but that's a situation that he didn't want to have to fight back. He did, his left side's pretty beat in from the 24 Scott Stenzel, and it just makes this race that much harder. And if you get through it, you could look back on it and be like, all right, we overcame that adversity, but now all you're thinking is, well, this just got a whole lot harder. It just went all Madden on us or something.
Yeah, well, and he's also got to look at JD. JD earlier on was way back in the back of the pack, got caught up in a wreck earlier on, and now he's up there in the 3rd spot. So anything can happen. We still got a lot of time. It's only lap 44. Well, it'll be 44 when they cross the line of 93. So they've got plenty of time left here in this huge track here at Michigan International Speedway for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series here. Folks, we're in the middle of the chase here. Eliminator 6 drivers. We've been talking up a cool breeze about them all race long, but hey, we still got 25 of some bad fast boys and some bad fast cars on a bad fast hot Michigan track here tonight, doing some awesome things here. And I guess we could, since we're on the caution, we could take a quick commercial break. And that way maybe Harrison, if he has to do some admin and ability, well, he can get on it. So, folks, stay tuned, get your refreshments, step away. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here live, Michigan International Speedway, Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series here. This is race number 3 of the chase here, the Eliminator 6, and it has been a doozy out here. Some guys, man, in the chase, been involved in a few incidents. Well, I'm Joe White up here in the booth. I'm accompanied by old Harrison up here. Harrison, how you liking this race so far, man?
Oh, and actually, Scott Stenzel with a black flag. I got to check on that right now just to make sure before we go back to green. But I tell you, Paul Cooper, J.D. Laird, they're hoping to hold on for dear life, get those halfway points. That could come mighty handy when we look at the situation heading into Vegas. So I'm excited to see how that works out here in this final couple of laps.
Yeah, me too. Well, I'll let you get trucking on that part. Harrison, by the way, folks, he's doing some little double duty up here tonight. Michael unfortunately had a quick emergency and he couldn't make it up here. Now he's up here in the booth, though. We got Pedro over there clicking over there on the buttons, man. Got his fingers letting him do the talking. And as always, these guys on the track are letting theirself do the talking here with their skill behind the wheel, so to speak. And they got their rigs, man, fired up. It's been a good one. Paul Cooper definitely up front wants those halfway bonus points, because that could be the difference between going to Las Vegas and not going to Las Vegas to try to buy to be the champion here.
Well, that's absolutely right. And he knows it. And as these guys get ready for this, next time around, they're going to be... He only has to hold on to that lead for one lap in order to win the halfway bonus. And, I think he could do it. But what he's going to rely on is a bit of... maybe a little trickery on the restarter. Just catch these guys off guard. He probably has enough tires to hold off Malik Ray for one lap, but Malik Ray, fresh rubber, he wants it too. He's got to make Vegas just the same. So this will be mighty interesting.
Yes, it will, Harris. You're right there. As we're getting set here to go back green flag, well, you see old Cooper up there. He's got the We Them Boys on the side. Well, him and the boys are definitely going to want to power that Mustang to the front. So it's the old battle between the two. You got Chevy Ford up front, Cooper sitting in a Mustang, Malik Ray sitting in a Camaro. Well, we know that rivalry from years and years right there. As the pace car's coming out of turn number 4, we're heading into turn 4 at this time, and it's going to let these guys go. You're right. Cooper's going to have to hammer on there, get out front. Malik Ray understands that he's going to have to try to do something within here. Pace car's coming out of turn 4. We'll take that hard left turn off on pit road. It'll be lap 49 complete. When they go, I got a feeling Cooper's going to hold. Green flag's gone. Boy, Malik Ray spun the tires just a little bit. That let the 18 go. The 23's on the inside there. JD's going to hold him up. That's what Cooper wants. As I say that, though, JD says, hold on a minute. I'm coming to the front. I want that bonus point.
And that's absolutely right. And they're side by side for lead. Malik Ray doesn't quite have a place to go right now. Chad Coleman, meanwhile, behind. But look at Malik Ray with those 4 tires making the bottom work. He's going to go underneath JD. JD with a block. They're 3 wide entering turn 3.
Folks, that's 3 wide right there going into turn 3. This is all just for some bonus points. Imagine for the win. These guys will be out there trying to kill each other. All these guys are chase contenders. Look at this fight coming out of turn 4. They will go wrecking behind them too as it comes to the line. Who's going to get it? Is it going to be the 18? Is it going to be, I think the 18 got that.
Wow, that's pretty much the corner of a lifetime for Paul Cooper. I mean, I thought he was covered, but he made 3 and 4 work. Got there first. J.D. Laird, by the way, going to be third on the halfway, so that's a, mission successful for him there based on how this race was going. I think he'd easily take that 3rd place, but it's looking like he has a chance of getting through at the finish, too. It looks like he's got enough car to keep up despite all that damage.
Well, I went back on the replay there because I was watching an exciting, man, right there for the halfway bonus point. The number 2 of Mike Kelly, well, unfortunately, Kyle Taraska just got right in the back end of it where they were all battling up front. You got turned coming into the trioval. Not a place you want to do some bump drafting. Boy, when that 18 got out front, he is long gone now. He has found something here on this track as Malik Ray is trying to do everything. Well, that was exciting. If that's what we're going to see maybe on the end here, as he gave it everything for a halfway bonus, what's he going to do, or who's he going to send in the grandstand to win this thing?
That's absolutely right. And I'm kind of surprised by Paul Cooper's speed right now because, he's put a little distance on Malik Ray at the moment. And looking for where JD is falling in line there, stuck on the outside in front of Chad Cole. Cole is probably not the person who's going to put him 3 wide in this scenario, but certainly working a lot better for that 18 car than the 23 right now. But I think the 23 is just hoping for a caution any moment now so he can get on the same exact setup or the same exact tire strategy, see what he has on even tire wear.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Right, and the straightaway speed is where it's going to hurt him the most. With that damage being here, you got long straightaways, high speed. Aerodynamics do play a factor here. Right now, he's dropping like a rock in water as he's all the way back in the 9th place spot. And on the inside, up front, I tell you what. Look at Malik Ray. He is under fire by the 20 machine of Chad Coleman. But you got Brian Cook back there. The man's cooking it up right here at Michigan, and he's trying to bring that machine to the front.
Brian Cook has come close to a few wins in this series. Hasn't quite got there, but, we saw him work the tire strategy earlier. This is the first time we really see him running up front with these guys on the same set of tires, and it looks like he's got a lot of speed. I think Malik Ray's doing a little bit of tire saving right now. Certainly holding up a number of these guys, but they're probably going to try to get underneath him before long. I know Coleman's usually very good to his tires, but another caution.
Caution now.
Stay out here.
Oh, and it involves the Folgers machine again and the 9 machine also. Wow, I'll tell you what, Glenn Campbell, after tonight, the man's he's probably gonna come out here with a goody headache machine if he makes it out of this race for next week, because wow, he has just been everything he possibly can. Now, it's not a fault of his own on this one, just a victim of circumstance, as I believe the 9 machine in front of him. Yep, the 9 and the 00 got together, and then Glenn nowhere to go. Wham, just right there. And I'm gonna tell you, at some point, that man's gonna have to say, I'm gonna just go get some coffee and go relax. And I think that might be it, because that might blew the motor on that thing.
Yeah, and that's another incident Larry Pace has gotten involved in, and he's kept it off the outside wall, but this is not the evening he had in mind earlier tonight. He's certainly fighting from the back on this one.
And he is, and you were talking about it, this right here benefits the man in 9th place, JD. Now he's back on the same pit strategy as everyone else. He can get his 4 tires, come back in here. Unfortunately, like you were talking about, Larry Pace, not the night he has been wanting. You're right. Back there in the back, I mean, we've just seen some of the chase drivers get involved in different things, and it's with the guys running as well as they are, it's pressure. And pressure, coming in here, Harris, you've got to have a fast machine. You've got to be competitive up front. I mean, especially Malik, Taraska, a lot of those guys up there, just to name a few, have been up there. Cooper and all them, all up in the top 5. And when it's that close, it's just very hard. And when you have just a little bit of bad luck, it's hard to bounce back from.
Yeah, it certainly is hard to bounce back from. Sorry, I had my ears are going wild right now as far as the admin stuff. Looking at the halfway bonus, Chad Cole sending a few things. Chad Cole, driver in this race, also co-owner of the whole league, and so a lot of these guys kind of wear multiple hats. I'm wearing multiple hats tonight. Usually it's not that hectic, but I tell you, they do a good job putting on a great show every week. This show has been a little less ideal than intended. Haven't seen this many cautions halfway in quite a while, but this one's certainly running along. 22 cars still on the lead lap, and that's part of what contributes to that the stressful situation of trying to get to Vegas, because one wrong strategy move, you could have it where you elect to take tires, 18 people stay out, you're coming from 19th, and so for all those drivers who are trying to make it to Vegas in the top 4, that's it. Everything is doubted. Everything is second guessed.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. And that's the thing. Everything is. And, you touched on the league here. I'm new to the league here at Sim500. I actually just run across it on Facebook one day and said, hey, cool league. Was going to run. Next thing I know, man, Joey said, hey, we need somebody to come up and broadcast, but come up and announce with Michael. He doesn't have anybody up here. And I said, well, I ain't doing anything on Mondays. Why not? And then I love coming up here calling races. Love this stuff. So I've actually only been here. This is my 3rd race for this. And what I've seen so far is some very talented drivers out here and a lot of skill. That's the word I like using a lot out here. It's been very interesting to see, very interesting to put on a show here. And you're right. Now, cautions as far as the night goes, yeah, it has been very uncharacteristic for a Michigan race. But, a lot of them, I think some of it's the product of the track. This track is, it can be a very tricky track. You think you've got the room here, and that room and the hole just closes very quickly on you.
It's also one of those things, too, where I definitely live by the philosophy of, the more difficult tracks will often surprise you, because then drivers, they get worried. They start thinking, tonight's going to be a mess. We're going to be under yellow the entire time. We're not going to see any green laps. They start racing the racetrack. You look at a Darlington, a Rockingham, drivers start racing the racetrack, and then you go green for quite a while. We've seen some incredible races on nights that people thought it was going to be a mess. We ran Kentucky, fixed setup, extremely loose in this league on just a short couple of months ago in this Monday Night Money series. And I tell you, there were a couple drivers so worried that they did not even start the race. We went extremely green. So I think this might be a product of maybe the car drives a little bit too good.
And true, I will definitely 100% agree with that. A lot of times you get a mentality of you thinking, oh, this is an easy track. That's not, I don't like the word to use there, because no track's really easy, but easier than others. And then, like you said, you go we'll use a New Hampshire for the scenario. You go to that track and you're like, oh man, I got to be very careful. It's going to be a lot of cautions. It's just tricky track. Everybody brakes different. Everybody does this. I could get into somebody. You're always got that in your mind, so you're always careful. And usually it ends up being a pretty good race. You come here where it's like, oh yeah, we can be flat out, got a lot of room, and guess what? Mistakes can be made. It happens, but it's just a product of track and car.
Yeah, and like you said, it's still difficult here. Difficult for different reasons. I tell you, the racecraft that you need to run in a pack is it's not something you learn. It's not something you have overnight, or it's not something you learn overnight. It's not something you have from the beginning. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of practice.
Absolutely. Well, pace cars coming out turn 4 here. These guys are definitely getting some good running here tonight. Pace cars in. Well, I'll tell you what, old Malik Ray didn't waste any time on that one. He is gone. Actually, I think he was the leader, so he had the right to go. Now, maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong on this one, because I'm not 100% myself. Do they have to go at green, or can they go with the pace car ducks in?
Well, it's similar to NASCAR in that there's a restart box, but their restart box is huge. They can't go anytime, but they can go whenever the pace car is off the track.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know some leagues I've been in, definitely everybody's different. Some say as soon as the green flies, you go, or as soon as that thing goes in, you leader has the right to take off. As we saw there, I wanted to make sure, because some of them go, hey, you can't pass the leader before the start-finish line. We've seen rules like that. Hey, I'll learn as I go on here, but right now Malik Ray understands out front. Guess who the two cats are up front? Kyle Tarasca right behind him. Joshua Williams, though, haven't really talked much about him tonight. That 22 Discount Tire Mobile machine, he is piling that thing around here. He started 22nd, and is up here in second and is battling for second place. Boy, he is on the move, and oh yeah, he's one of the chase contenders also.
Yeah, started 22nd into car number 22. Might be his lucky number. But Josh Williams is one of those guys who at the beginning of the year was, at times had dominant speed. He was incredibly fast to start the year. Then it seemed like things just kind of went a little bit awry more recently. But I mean, if tonight's any indication, things are turning around at the exact right time. He's still a player in this title race, and he's right on the bumper of Malik Ray, who I personally thought might be the favorite going in, but look at that 22 car all over that one Camaro of Malik Ray.
Well, I tell you what, I'm a Ford man through and through. Love Mustangs, always have, so it's a good thing to see. And oh, by the way, I do like Joey Logano. It runs a 22 machine out there, and Brad Keselowski every once in a while. So it's an awesome thing to see him pilot that 22 to the front there, and he did it with authority and passed the number one machine of Malik Ray. We don't see that often, but when we do, them guys we know are on a roll, and he is definitely on one. But right behind him, don't count out the man I said that was smiling all around here. Simley, Scott Simley, that is, and the 68 is all over the back end of that 22.
Yeah, how about Scott Simley? I mean, Tarasca sneaking in there too is interesting to note, but Scott Simley, I think some of these guys might be around Simley thinking, oh, he's just going to use his stuff up in order to keep up with us. But, Simley is not someone you could underestimate here. He is someone, when he hits the long run, he hits it extremely well. Usually when he has this kind of speed, he has it on the long run as well. So I'm not looking for that 68 car to disappear here. I'm looking for that 68 car to just contribute to this lead battle.
And he is right now. He is all over the back deck lid on the 22. I'm watching Paul Cooper back there. He's currently in the 5th place spot, and he's nose to tail right there. He's on the back end of the one machine. Well, Harris, right now everybody is pretty much right there in a single file line. But all these chase contenders, well, they're all either in the top 5 or top 10. It is going to come down to a nail biter. And man, we got two cars back there beating each other half to death in the back.
Absolutely. And as I look for that, Joey Katina, by the way, running 7th. Good run for him going right now. He's had some back and forth luck.
Yeah, he has. That number 14 machine looking good. Dollar General out there. That DeWalt machine behind him, Chad Cole. So we were just talking about them two guys early on. Joey and Chad both actually are admins here, and I'm going to say co-owners. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a way to phrase it.
Okay, good deal. Well, I mean, I've talked to Joey plenty of times. That's one of the main ones I get to talk to. I haven't really talked much with Chad myself. Actually, I haven't really got to talk to you, Harris, until tonight. Now I get to talk to you a lot. So it's been awesome for you to be up in this booth here with me. And I hope you're having a blast up here calling this race.
Oh, certainly. Although I expected the admin side of things to be a little more boring. So I've been like the king of multitasking right now. And by king, I mean novice, junior editor. I don't know what I'm doing. We're just trying to do.
Hey, that's all right. Good deal. Multitasking is key right now. We're talking about Joey Katina right there. He's in the 7th spot. He's got that Chad Cole looking all over his back end. A couple Toyota machines there, nose to tail, looking good. And behind, right in front of them, though, they got Chad Coleman in that 20 machine. Still up front, you got Joshua Williams out front, Scott Simley there, Kyle Tarasca. Looks like they're fanning out just a little bit, but don't count out that 20 machine of Chad Cole. He pulls up on the back end there, the 18 of Cooper. Wow, it is a good race all the way back for the top 10.
These guys just can't relax. And they have to be on it every single lap. Paul Cooper is showing, thankfully, kind of working along with my prediction from earlier. That 18 car has been up there pretty much the entire race, except on a mixed strategy once. And now that everyone's pretty much on the same exact strategy, he's hanging there. We saw him catch the lead pack early on. We saw a little bit of a mix-up, the 2 tires. He ended up winning the halfway money, the halfway money. That's actually a former Monday Night Money Series thing, but he won the halfway bonus, which, could net him a lot more money come Vegas, because I think just to make the top 4 at Vegas, we're talking about $50 just to make it. That's not for the championship.
Oh, wow. And you talk about, we call this, it's Sim500, folks, Monday Night Money Premier Series, because if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Harris, the winner does get something out of this race, doesn't he?
Well, I'm not sure specifically about this race, but we have a staggered payout system the entire way through. And that's something that's largely what Chad Cole looks at, but I'm kind of the guy who shows up and just make sure the rules are being followed. It's kind of like when you take a driver's ed test and you have to know all the fines and the penalties, and I just know the rules.
Okay. Well, then this is the next good question I was wanting to ask then. Bonus points. How does it work? Maybe you can refresh me on it, because I definitely had never asked Mike or any of them. As right now, I would imagine, obviously, you win the race, you get a bonus point. You lead a lap, you get a bonus point. But how does that work as far as anything else?
Oh, that basically follow exactly as NASCAR does it. Only the halfway is basically the one stage. So we had stage 1, basically half the race. Stage 2 is at the other half the race. So I think that all the bonus points basically go through that now that NASCAR has revamped that point system.
I gotcha. What about penalty points then?
Well, there is an incident system. So we look at the incidents after the race. A lot of times I'll just be in charge of the incidents, but for every series, we have a big group of guys to fall back on, especially if I'm confused by something. I'm never afraid to go ask a big group of guys, especially Chad Cole, Joey Gattina, since they're running the show. I always want their opinion on it if I'm lost on something. But the incident system, if you were to cause 3 in 2 races, for instance, you're going to be suspended the next week. So that's one of the things that they definitely deal with.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, I mean, that's good to know. A good battle going on here for the 13th and 14th spot there. Actually, well, this looks like the 12th and 11th spot. That's Chris. I'm going to hope I say that last. You know what? I ain't going to try it. Maybe you can correct me with it. It's a 39 machine of Chris.
I'm hoping it's Chris Gabot, because I have actually never heard it, but I'm going with Gabot.
Okay, sounds like a winner to me, because that's probably about as close as I would get. He makes the pass with his 39. Behind him, Scott Formosa. Now, I've heard that one. I got that one right. He's in a good battle going on. He's got the 80 machine on the inside. He's trying to take away that spot away from Brian Cook. And that is for 11th, 12th, and 13th. So they're back there mixing it up just a little bit. They all go single file. But that's the thing, Harris. We're watching these guys. Right now, they're single file. But right after that, it seems like they can just, boom, take this thing and start racing side by side.
Yeah, they always say it's easier to race up front. The guys, once you get mid-pack, especially on back, they're fighting for everything they can get. Some of these guys up front, they're kind of happy with where they're at. They're able to save some rubber. They're able to take it a little bit easy, try to balance themselves for the long run. But a lot of these other guys, who have some speed stuck in the middle of the pack, they're playing catch-up. So they can't save as much as the guys in front of them. And I think that's where you get, some of the hardest racing you'll ever see is the direct middle of the pack of a race. And that kind of goes for basically every racing series there is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Joshua Williams still in control of this one. He's got a 2/10 lead. I'm still watching these guys in the back here, but just to give you an update, he is still out front. Joshua Williams at 22. Scott Assembly is right behind him. Malik Ray, well, they pulled away from him with a second lead over him. And Kyle Taraska's on his back deck lid. So you've got 2 cars nose to tail up front, and the 2 cars right there, 3rd and 4th, are nose to tail. And a slew of cars back in the pack here. And I still see the 63 and 39 and a 34 behind him. It's a good battle going on back here for this 11th, 10th on back.
A lot of cars right there. A lot of racing going on. Some of those guys trying to get to the front. Some of those were there earlier. Brian Cook, 12th is back to where he qualified, and he was doing considerably better than that before. So he's kind of in the mode where he's trying to make it back up. But one thing I want to point out real quick about Kyle Taraska in the 3 car is he was applying a lot of pressure to Malik Ray. And just as I say that, Malik Ray's extended the distance a little bit. But I think Taraska was in that motion where Malik was saving a lot, trying to get all he could for this long run. Taraska was applying as much pressure as he could to make Malik Ray push harder than he wanted to. But I think with Malik Ray's experience and especially with winning these races, I don't think you could get Malik to push harder than he wants to.
Absolutely. And, just to think about it, we're 22 laps to go here at Michigan International Speedway, folks. It's the Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series here live. That's right, Michigan, huge track, watching a good race going on for the man out front, Joshua Williams. He is hoping to punch his ticket to the Championship 4 next week at Las Vegas to buy for a championship here at the Sim500. Right behind him, though, Scott Simley's there. Then you got to go third place man, Malik Ray, and fourth place man, Kyle Taraska. And to round out the top 5, we got Paul Cooper. So every one of those guys, except for the one, is all chase contenders there in the top 5. That's how close it is.
That's exactly right. And we're in the final 20 laps of this race with 20 to go in this one next time by when they hit the start-finish line. And, the intensity is heating up. And one car that I want to look at as J.D. Laird. Well, we don't need to look at him. He's just all alone in 16th. And so, his chances has changed dramatically. One of the things that he is relying on is the fact that Larry Pace, who got involved in those couple of incidents, a lot of damage. He's 22 seconds out of the lead right now, 21st, last car on the lead lap, last car running, I believe. And so it's looking rough for the 00 right now.
Well, the two cars right now that, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong here, Harrison, that would be out, and the 4 that would go would obviously be JD and Pace. Due to the fact of, we just said it, the top 5 and 6 drivers are all chase racers up there. And that's just how close and how challenging, competitive. There we go. That's a good word. Competitive it is here to get to that championship 4. Now, obviously, penalty points, bonus points, that plays a factor in anything, but you're right. 16th place for JD. His nearest chase competitor, from my understanding, what I'm looking at right now, would be actually Cooper, who is actually sitting in the 6th place. So that's 10-spot difference. I don't know exactly what the points difference was going in, but definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing to think about that, too, J.D. Laird able to finish 3rd in the halfway, stage 1. Paul Cooper, his nearest competitor there in 6th. That 10-spot difference. However, Paul won that stage. He won the halfway. So, he didn't gain anything. He needs Paul to be about, he needs Paul to be only like 3 or 4 spots ahead of him in order for him to take advantage of that. Some of these other guys, I would have to look back at see where Taraska and a couple of these other guys finished in that at the halfway. But Malik Ray was up there, and I believe the 2nd position. Not sure about Williams or Taraska, but those are the guys that you have to look at. Where if JD's gonna get in, he's gonna have to get closer to him.
Absolutely, and right now being in 16th spot, I think it's the safest bet to say, don't always want to give it to him. We still got 18 laps. Anything can happen at this point. But as if the race ended right now, unfortunately, he's done everything he could do. He's moved up one now in the 15th spot. Here's another thing. I believe these guys are going to have to make another pit stop. Can they go the whole entire way?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I believe some of these guys might have to make another pit stop. Can they make it the entire way? We haven't really talked about that.
I think they can, but I didn't think anyone would try because that we went green on lap 55, and that feels like a stretch on tires. Yes. It really does.
That's what I'm thinking. Well, that might be the strategy of that one machine. As we're seeing him he's climbing all over the 68. Maybe Pedro can chime in on us down there in pit road. Okay. Well, you heard it first right there, folks. Pedro believes they can go straight to the end. It is a stretch. Now, we say that. We were talking about the one machine out there slowing up earlier on. Maybe he understands that. And right now, he takes that high side around the 68 and is taking the 2nd place away from him. and that's going to be Scott there. Scott's trying to power back on and try to fight with him a little bit. But Malik, right, he understands if he can get the win, obviously that punches his ticket instantly to next week. And I think Joshua Williams understands, even if he doesn't win, if he can probably just stay in second, he might have done enough to get himself there to Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That should be enough. And as far as the pit window is concerned, I was actually confusing the Wednesday pit window for a moment there, because on Wednesday they do run smaller fuel cells. And so there it would be very, very close on being able to make it on fuel. But the car here should be able to go about 50 laps, if not some more. That's a rough estimate. But if we were to go, 60 or more laps, I think you would see people cut that in halfway. But I think stretching it to 38 is the way to go, rather than splitting it, just because you don't have enough time to make it up. So stretching it is definitely the way to go in this one.
All right, now we've got a good battle going on for the fourth place spot. That's Chad Coleman right there. He goes up underneath Kyle Tarasco, and for the moment he has it. But as they storm down the bad stretch, that number 20 machine has to fall back in line behind him. That's going to bring that 18 right there, Cooper. We were talking about him earlier. So he's definitely thinking, well, if I can get one more spot, that helps me over the chances of JD, because JD has picked up another position back there. He's up in the 14th. We were talking about it, how close JD has to be to Cooper. And really, as of right now, I mean, probably safe bet to say that's the cutoff between the two. I would say between Cooper and JD, if the race ended now, of who would go on to Las Vegas for the Final Four.
That's absolutely right. And where it would get interesting is, especially if another caution comes out, if it were to bunch things up, Kyle Tarasca and some of these guys, Joshua Williams, depending on where they were halfway through the race, they're in a really vulnerable spot because of the points that Cooper and JD were both able to get on them at that halfway point. And so JD's kind of, he wouldn't have to pass some of those guys in order to get more points out of this race. He'd just have to get close to them when you look at some of those guys, especially Paul. Paul right now, even if he runs behind Tarasca, is going to get more points than Tarasca this race, be ahead of him in the points. So kind of on the bubble is more than likely Tarasca right now. I'll just have to go back and compare how he and Williams finished at the halfway point, which I'm actually going to go back and look right now.
All right, good deal. We got our statistician there, Harrison. He's going to go and check that out, because it's getting very interesting as we get here for 12 to go. They cross this line. It's going to be 11 laps to go. And, folks, two things to be interesting. Obviously, last lap, that ends this one when the checker flag flies. But if there's 4 laps to go and a caution comes out, that's over with, because we don't have green-white checkers here. So if there's 4 laps left when the caution flies, whoever's out front wins this one. Now, I think Joshua Williams understands that, but he's got a Malik Ray and a number 1 machine closing in a hurry, as that lead is down to 0.6, almost 7/10 of a second, as they're going to come across the line. It's going to be 10 to go. Ken, the number 1 machine here at Michigan International Speedway, folks. We're live here for the Sim500 Monday Premier Series. And I tell you what, Pedro, we'll do it one more time here. Let's take a quick commercial break and come back. We'll conclude this one, because it's going to be a barn burner to the end of this one. Folks, hang on to your hats here. We'll be right back.
Start your engine!
again, Michigan International Speedway. 7 laps to go in this one here, folks, as it's about to heat up. Up front, Malik Ray is trying to run down that man in the 22 machine of Joshua Williams. Well, Harrison, what'd you figure out on the point situation?
That's exactly right. It was at the halfway mark, actually, was a bit of an incident. Coming out of turn 4, jumbled the order up a little bit. Taraska, who's running 5th right now, was 5th at the halfway. Josh Williams, who's in the lead, was 9th at the halfway, losing spots out of the final corner there. So if anything changes, that's something to keep in mind, but we're coming up pretty quickly. But one of the things that Malik Ray is happy to have is a couple of bonus points from winning races earlier in the year. So Malik has a bit of a cushion to sit on right now. Larry Pace, however, went into this race at the farthest behind the leader, 30 points behind the leader, but between 3rd through 6th, they were all within 5 points. So Williams, Laird, Cooper, and Pace, pretty much who we were looking at to begin with. Altogether, Taraska has 9 points on Williams going into this one, and he gained more at halfway. So,
all right, well, then, so basically what we were talking about earlier with JD and Cooper, kind of you're pretty much going to have to be in that top 10 there to move on into Las Vegas from what you're telling me, which is that's some competition. And if that's what we're seeing, then going into Las Vegas, it's definitely going to be anybody's ball game. As up front, I'm going to tell you, Malik Ray's trying to do everything he can to run this man down. Losing a little time now. I thought he was going to be able to run him down, but Joshua Williams turned the wick up in that 22 and has moved out a little bit on him.
Yeah, and Scott Simley, I thought he'd hang a little bit more than he has in the long run, but I mean, you know, he's really beating up on all but 2, really. We're seeing a lot more distance come between some of these drivers. Williams, you said 0.7 of a second on Malik Ray. Malik definitely driving harder now, but look at that. Williams pulls away a little bit more, just a couple of hundredths at a time there, but, you know, as they're really pulling away from 3rd, Williams putting a little bit fresh air between him and Malik.
Absolutely, and most notably here, caution comes out at this point. That's going to be it. The man out front would be the winner of this one because our racing doesn't do a green-white checker. Now, most interesting we're seeing up front, he is moving the way, that 22 machine over Malik and that number 1. Good battle brewing, though, back here between Kyle Taraska and Chad Cole. That's the 6th and 7th spot. As I'm watching Chad Cole, he's moving up in that 8 machine there in that Toyota. He's going to try to intimidate the Intimidator, Kyle Taraska, out there in the 3. We'll see if we can't get it done as we cross the line with 3 to go.
Oh, that's absolutely right. Taraska is, you know, I wasn't sure if he'd be able to hold off Paul Cooper or not, but, you know, it's interesting that Cooper was able to get by him. That's kind of the battle I had my eye on for quite a while. And certainly Taraska's not in a place where he wants to be losing spots right now, but with so much space, a caution, by the way, would end this race at this point because they only have to make a few more laps and it'll all be over. So these guys are just trying to stay where they are. But for Larry Pace and JD, well, Larry Pace lost a lap, so it's looking, you know, people would have to be out of the race for him to have a shot right now. But time's running out for JD Laird.
It is unfortunate for him. Just got caught up in a couple incidents earlier on, got him back there into trouble. Watching this battle brewing, though, Kyle Taraska, Chad Cole, don't count out the number 2 machine there, Mike Kelly. He was involved in an incident early on. He's about to mix it up with those guys. So 6th, 7th, and 8th spot right now heating up. We got 2 laps to go for that man up front, 22 machine of Joshua Williams, who has got a 7/10 lead over Malik Ray, and he's got a 3.2 second lead over the 68 of Scott Simley, who is in 3rd. Yeah, about a 5 seconds as they cross the line. White flags in the air. So the battle right now, Harris, is 6th, 7th, and 8th spot.
That's exactly right. Chad Cole's within striking distance there of Taraska. Not sure that he'll be able to. If he's going to make it happen, it's going to have to get he's just trying to get a nice run out of turn 2 here, carry more exit speed, have something for him entering turn number 3. Doesn't look like they're going to quite have it right there, but it looks like Taraska's spot is pretty safe as Joshua Williams way out front.
Yeah, Joshua Williams comes out of turn 4 for the final time tonight. He will take the checkered flag here at Michigan International Speedway, folks. Joshua Williams, the winner here, Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series at Michigan. We got old Malik Ray coming in 2nd. Scott Simley right there in third, Chad Cole in fourth, and Paul Cooper rounding out the top 5. What a race there to the end. Started off a little rocky, but I think that was just a product of the track and the car. But this thing ended up being a very good one. Well, we'll step away real quick, take a quick commercial break, get this thing concluded, get our winners up here, and get a talk to these drivers. Make sure we're all. Pedro.
Start your engine!
Speedway. Folks, Sim500 Monday Night Money Series here. Well, we're trying to run our top 3 guys down to hopefully get a talk in with them. And don't see Joshua Williams up here in the team speak right as of right yet, but we do see Scott Smiley down here. There we go. We'll go ahead and bring him up here. And I know he's the third place man. Malik Ray, he's up there. There's Mike off right now. Just don't see Joshua Williams at the moment. But either way, Harris, I'll bring up Scott Smiley. I'm going to talk with him tonight. Scott Smiley's Joe out in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Scott, I'll tell you what, an eventful race all night long. You had a bad, fast machine out there. How'd the track feel? How'd the car feel?
You know, I like it. It got loose. I don't know. I thought I was hanging with Joshua and just wanted to get that last run there, just kind of pull away, and saw Malik coming and thought I'd let him go because he ran me down, and I thought, well, there's 18 laps left, but I don't know. Joshua had a fast machine. He just was consistent on those last 20, 25 laps there, and I burned the right front off a little bit, and that's all I had.
Oh, absolutely. Well, this is a very huge track. Sometimes can be tricky. Can fool you as a driver out here. You think that you know the place and they can come out there and snap out and bite you. But hey, good finish tonight. Came in third. Definitely a good run. We're going into the last race next week at Las Vegas. Think you got anything for these boys out there?
We'll give our best shot here. I like Vegas, so it should be a lot of fun. We'll see what shakes down.
Absolutely. Well, you got anybody out there you want to thank for that third place tonight?
I thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Friends and family, if they're out there. And, yeah, that's about it. Hippie's Paint Shop. Need anything painted up, go to Hippie's Paint Shop. That's about it.
All right, good deal. Man, a few words, but definitely gets it done on the track there. Scott Simley. Scott, definitely, man. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Well, I see Malik Ray out there, second place man. I still don't see Joshua Williams. If we don't get a talk with Joshua Williams tonight, we definitely will get a talk with him next week if we possibly can. So, as always, we definitely want to give our winner because he is the winner here. But, hey, Harris, we're going to bring up the second place man, Malik Ray.
I'm here with Malik Ray, fresh off of a second place finish, looking ahead to Las Vegas. But first off, Malik, tonight, Joshua Williams just kind of came out of the blue there, and we saw you saving tires earlier on in that late long run, earlier on as well. But on that last long run to end the race, did you think you were going to have more for Joshua than you did? Currently having microphone problems right now. I don't actually hear Malik.
Sorry, my mic was muted. Sorry.
No problem.
I was expecting to at least get to him. I wasn't expecting to be able to pass him, but I was at least expecting to get to him.
And this race, certainly all the cautions earlier on leading to that long green flag run. Is that something that you ever feel like is kind of weird to adjust to, or is it come pretty naturally getting into that green run rhythm?
Personally, I don't really like a bunch of cautions. I'd rather it just go like green from start to finish. Because whenever we have to, you have to do the restarts and all that other stuff, and it gets you out of a rhythm.
Oh, absolutely. And through this chase, we've had a lot of one-offs. But next week, with the one-off being winner takes all, have you ever done something like that before for a championship with money on the line? And how do you kind of approach a race like that where basically everything has to go perfectly?
Not really sure. Just run every race how I've been running it so far. Just try to, qualify up front and then stay out of, all the mess and the junk and stuff, and hopefully have a clean race without any mistake.
Absolutely had a number of those this year. Winning a number of races got you a point cushion through a lot of this chase. And heading into Vegas, one more to go. But who would you like to thank?
All of you admins and all of you guys that are broadcasting it. It means a lot to be able to run in this league, and it's clean for the most part, so I enjoy racing here.
Absolutely, we enjoy having you on here. As we appreciate you joining us here, live from Yellow Flag Productions. Looking to see if Joshua Williams is here to get a word with the winner.
Yeah, I don't see him in here yet, but that's old Malik Ray, and we definitely know he was one happy camper there tonight. As definitely one of these interesting races. But like I said, if we can't get a hold of old Joshua Williams, we definitely.
Oh, he's down there now. J-Dub.
Which one? J-Dub, is that him?
Must be.
All right, well, we'll bring him up and see. Jay, this is Joe White in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah.
Is this Joshua Williams?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. Well, different name on the track, different name here in TeamSpeak. Well, my friend, we're down here in Victory Lane because tonight you did it. You piloted that 22 machine to victory up front and took it home here for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series at Michigan. How's it feel to bring home the victory?
It was pretty fun. Track changed a lot. We finally had a green flag run there at the end, so it was actually the new update to iRacing last week or week before last actually kind of helped out in that situation. So I think the dynamic track thing really helped out there, and it was fun to race with Malik at the end.
Well, here's another thing that might be very fun, my friend. As far as our calculations are concerned, I think we're all, typed up down there in Harrison has. You're going to Las Vegas next week as one of the championship four to buy for a championship. How does that feel to come out of Las Vegas, possibly saying the words, the champ is here?
Right. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's been a long season, and really the main thing is just not getting into trouble with crashing and just surviving all the races. So that's kind of been what I've tried to do lately. So we'll see what happens in Vegas. It's a pretty cool track, and maybe it'll change around there, kind of like Michigan did. So it'll be fun for us four. Hopefully nobody else causes any trouble and we can all race for it.
Well, absolutely. You definitely did some awesome running tonight, piloting that 22 machine to victory lane here at Michigan International Speedway for the Sim500. Monday Night Money series. You got anybody out there you want to thank for it?
Thank everyone, I guess. Like thank Kyle for giving me some motivation after running me in the fence last week coming to the checker. So that was kind of my motivation for tonight. Was stay away from him because you can't trust him anymore.
Well, there you go. You heard it first. Joshua Williams said, "Stay away from Kyle." No, but either way, good run tonight. And I tell you, it was awesome to see you pilot that 22 up front, taking in front of there, and taking home the victory here at Michigan, folks. There you go, Joshua Williams, tonight's winner here at Michigan International Speedway. Well, Harris, I tell you, it was an eventful race from the green flag to the checkered flag here. But we go next week. 4 drivers will compete for a vie to be the champion here at the Sim500 Monday Night Money Premier Series, Xfinity Series at Vegas. And we always say the old saying, what happens in Vegas stays at Vegas. But what happens on that track next week is going to be phenomenal. And it's going to be an awesome thing. Harris, you got any final words here for this race?
Certainly excited for Vegas because what we saw here tonight, we'll see more of that next week. Of course, we had some cautions tonight, but it led to a whole lot of green flag action there straight to the end. Everything became paramount. The rhythm of the drivers, exactly how they were focusing on balancing their car to keep the tires on it. And we saw all those guys up front battling to make Vegas. They'll be those same guys who are up front competing in Vegas. So just interested in seeing how it works out.
Absolutely. Well, from myself, Joe White up here in the booth with Harrison up here, Pedro clapping it out for Yellow Flag TV production here for the Sim500 League Monday Night Money Premier Series. We're off out of here from Michigan International Speedway. Folks, we'll see you next week at Las Vegas. 4 drivers, that's right, are going to fight it out, duke it out at Las Vegas fight style there on the tracks to be the champion here at the Sim500. Till then, everyone, have a good night.
Start your engine!